Here we go. Even though I have lots of arms on my YouTube page or YouTube channel, I'm gonna go ahead and videotape it and put what I teach you on there. So if you need to follow through it again, you'll be able to do that, okay? So here goes. Page 75, components of an arm. The very first thing is the index. In your book, I want you to write, index changes all the time. The index goes up and the index goes down. Goes up and down daily and all the time. The index is the cost of money. So you can write changes all the time, cost of money. If you write it down, you will remember. Number 2, the margin. The margin never ever changes. When you're selling an adjustable rate mortgage, the higher the margin, the more money the bank makes. So the margin is usually called the spread or the lender's profit, like a profit margin, get it? Margin. So a good margin and a fair margin is like 2.5, maybe 3, but anything higher than that is like highway robbery. Anything lower than that's very nice. After I get done with this page, I'll check out what you're asking me on the chat. Fully indexed rate. The fully indexed rate, write down, is the margin plus the index. Remember that the index fluctuates and the margin stays the same, and the fully indexed rate is margin plus index. Next one down says rate adjustment period. Now let me explain what happened. Back in the day, we had these places, they were called savings and loans. Remember those? I don't know. Some people don't remember them because you guys are really young. I don't even know how, because you look really young. So savings and loans were these big, beautiful buildings on the corner. And they were always like on the corner, like by Knott's Berry Farm. They used to have a couple of them. They look like big Roman buildings. And people would go in there and they would put their money in there and they put them in a savings account. And most of the time when you put it in a savings account, you have to leave it there for a certain amount of time. They're called CDs, certificates of deposit. So when I was a little girl, I used to do that all the time. I'm like, how much can I put in there and how much can I keep out for Christmas and stuff like that. So the savings and loans would do adjustable rate mortgages and they would make their own rules. They would do neg-ams, which are negative adjustables. They would do loans that change every 6 months. They would do all kinds of crazy stuff. And they couldn't sell it to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac because they were not standardized. When they found out if they standardized the adjustable rate mortgage, then they could sell them on the secondary market, replenish the money that they had, and make more loans. They're like, wait, we're going to standardize these. So that's what happened when adjustable rate mortgages got standardized so they could sell them on the secondary market. So that's when they started going, okay, well, the maximum they can change is 1 time per year. 2% per year. So when you see the 2 in the front, that's 2% per year. The back number on the back is the life cap. So when you see 2.6, the most it can change is the payment cap, 2% per year. So that's protection with a 6% life cap. So the 6% life cap means if you start at 2%, the highest you can go is 8, not 6. Just because it says 6% life cap, it's 6% from the start rate that you can go to, okay? So the start rate is usually called a teaser rate because it's so low. And the rate cap is how much it can change every time it changes. Conversion option. So some adjustable rate mortgages have a conversion option that allows you to convert it to a fixed rate loan anytime after the 1st year and before the 5th year. If you do convert it like I did, I had a conversion option loan. If you convert it during the 1st and the 5th year, you're going to get about a quarter higher than the going rate. So if the going rate is 3.5, you're going to get like 3 3/4. So you're going to get a little bit higher rate, but that's because you don't have to pay for title, escrow, and funding fees. So because you don't have to pay all those fees, they're going to give you a little bit higher rate. Just like if you refinance your loan and you don't want to pay points and fees, they're going to give you a little bit higher rate. That's how it works, because then they get a little bit more money on the backside. So it's always all about money. So the conversion option will let you convert after the 1st year, before the 5th year, about a quarter higher, and it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you 1 point. When I had my conversion option, sometimes I don't tell this story, but when I got my conversion option in my note in deed of trust, it said for a nominal fee. It didn't say 1 point. It said a nominal fee. So when I went to go convert it over, you know what they did? They're like, okay, so the conversion option fee, you need to give us $200 up front for the appraisal. So I did that. And they go all the way through it. I get my approval. And then they go, okay, by the way, the conversion fee is $4,200. I'm like, what? That's not nominal. So guess what I did? I sued the bank. So did many other people, because nominal is not $4,000. And so guess what? I got my conversion for free. So guess what? I got mine for free. Anyway, so now they say that it's 1%. So on the next page, let's look at page 76 and let's highlight all the stuff I just taught you. Here we go. So it says, the basic formula for calculating the interest rate for an ARM is highlight index plus margin equals fully indexed rate. The timing and frequency of the rate adjustment, which is known as the rate adjustment period, provides a certain level of control to interest rate adjustments. Further control of the interest rate increases are known as interest rate caps. Index. The starting point for the adjustable rate ARM is the index. Indexes are common ways of measuring cost of borrowing money. As a result, they are often referred to as the cost of money. Drop down to the next paragraph. The index should be one that is determined and affected by the market conditions and regularly listed on major publications. So it's usually listed on, highlight the Wall Street Journal, but it's also on your interest rate sheets. So when you guys get interest rates from your lenders you use, it'll be there. Margin. The other component lenders use to disclose to the borrower is the margin, also referred to as highlight the spread, which represents the lender's highlight profit margin over the cost of money. The margin is a fixed number expressed as a percentage point and is predetermined by the lender, okay? Drop down to the example. It shows you the index value is 3.25 plus the margin of 2 equals a fully indexed rate of 5.25. The fully indexed rate is the interest rate calculated by adding the index and the margin. So we've said that like 5 times. Since it relies on the variable index, the fully indexed rate changes each time an ARM goes through an adjustment. When underwriting a mortgage loan for an ARM, the fully indexed rate may be used by the underwriter rather than the start rate to qualify the borrower. So they're gonna use worst case scenario to qualify your borrower. Rate adjustment period. The rate adjustment period is the length of time between and the frequency of interest rate changes. The period is generally fixed to provide a level of security to the borrower. So usually it changes a maximum of 2% per year. Don't worry, when I get all done with this, we're gonna do a sample. Teaser rates in the gray box. When the initial rate on the ARM, also known as the start rate, is less than the fully indexed rate, highlight that, less than the fully indexed rate, it's considered a highlight discount index, sometimes referred to as highlight and circle the teaser rate, okay? That way, the teaser rate, when somebody sees a loan that's starting at like 1 1/4, they're like, whoa, that's a great loan, I want that. So over to interest rate caps. So interest rate caps are used with ARMs to limit the number of percentage points an interest rate can change. So the cap would be 2% per year with the 6% life cap. And it says the interest rate can increase during the term of the loan. Well, what I did is I made an arrow and I said, or decrease. Because on an adjustable rate mortgage, the rate can go up and the rate can come down. So one of the cool things was when I have an adjustable rate mortgage on one of my rentals and it's a neg am. So, oh my God, it could go negative. But who cares? Because so how a negative amortization loan works is what you have to know is negative amortization happens when you're not paying enough interest on the payment to lower the principal. And so negative amortization means the principal's going up. So a pick a payment loan was the most popular one in the day. And that's the one I have on my condo in Fullerton. And so my payment, now realize I owe almost nothing on it, and I bought it for really cheap because I was only 18. I bought it for $58,000. Okay, but it's not really gotten that big. It's only still worth like $350. It's not that big. But anyway, so I owe something like, I don't know, $130,000. So the minimum payment is like $735. My middle payment, because as a pick a payment loan, I have a choice of 3 payments. My middle payment is like $920, and my highest payment is like, I don't know, $1,100 or $1,200. Okay, so I always pay the highest payment because I have a renter who's paying me, let's call it $1,300. So if the renter's paying me enough to cover the highest payment, I'm gonna pay the highest payment, which is gonna pay off my loan real fast, okay? But if I pay the middle payment, my principal doesn't go down, but it doesn't go up. It just stays the same. Now, if I pay the lowest payment, it's like borrowing from myself. My principal goes up. So if let's say my renter moves out and I have to clean the carpet and paint and fix up the property, then I'm going to pay the lowest payment. It's almost like borrowing money from myself while I don't have a renter. And then when I put a new renter in there, then I'll pay the higher payment. So that's why it's called a pick a payment loan. You get to pick. So, I just explained a really difficult loan to you in about a minute and a half. And basically, I hate to say guess what, but what happened was borrowers got this loan from Wells Fargo and Bank of America, and the most popular one was like World Savings. Well, what happened was a lot of people who got those loans, the loan officer didn't explain it to them. So it wasn't just one person, it was a bunch of people. So they did a class action lawsuit, and Wells Fargo and Bank of America had to absorb the World Savings loans. And when they did that, they had to do some modifications. They had to do all types of things to try to keep people in their homes because they didn't understand how that loan worked. And so for the loan officers not to explain it how I just explained it to you, that's pretty bad. Because if they understood the loan, they probably would have liked it a lot better, and they probably wouldn't have lost their homes. So I'm going to check real quick with your chats to see what you guys are asking me. It says, is that on the test? I saw that. Please send me the chart. Oh, if you want me to send you the chart, just text me. Text me to my phone because I can't copy it out of the chat. So I see your email, but put your email in my text. And my text is my phone number, and my phone number is, are you ready? You should have it. 714-745-6348. So that's 714-745-6348. If you text me, I will send you the chart if you give me the email, and send you the T's and the fraction chart if you don't give me your email, okay? Because that's what I'm gonna figure out what you want. All right, here we go. We're gonna do an example. So this is gonna be fun. Get rid of your book, get your piece of paper, and now you have to think. You can put your thinking cap on. So we're gonna do a sample. I don't know what sample I did yesterday. If you followed me yesterday and you were following me again, I'm gonna feel like you're stalking me. I'm just kidding, that was a joke. I thought that was kind of fun. Anyway, so let's pretend, write down start rate. So write the word start rate and write down 1.25. Your interest rate on your mortgage is starting at 1.25. And then you're gonna put 2/6. 2/6 means the most it can go is 2%. So after a year, the highest it can go is 3.25. And over the life of the loan, the highest it could go is 7.25. You guys got that? So it's 2/6. And let's see, we got the 2/6. Oh, we need a margin. So our margin is going to be, I'm gonna make you really think, is gonna be 2.25. Okay, so the margin's 2.25. So the type of question you will get is it will say, your client got an adjustable rate mortgage. It started at 1.25. It's a 2/6 loan, and the margin is 2.25. After the first year, that's what it's gonna say. After the first year, your index is 2.75. So the first thing you always do, the very first thing you do on an adjustable rate mortgage is you add the margin to the index. So our index is 2.75. Our margin is 2.25. 2.75 plus 2.25 is 5%. So margin plus index is 5. We started at 1.25. We can only change a maximum of 2% per year. So we're protected by the cap. That's why the cap's there. So we're protected by the 2% cap. So we're not going to 5%. We're going to 3.25 for the whole next year. Everybody got that? That was easy, right? As long as somebody doesn't say anything, I think it's easy. All right, let's just keep going. A year goes by. Oh my gosh, we're getting old fast. Another year goes by, and your index after the second year is, let's call it 1.75. So the index is 1.75. We always add the margin to the index. Our margin is 2.25. So that equals 4%. We're at 3.25. So we're gonna go to 4% for the whole next year. You with me? Anybody hurt? Let me see, you got chats. I swear I looked at the chats. It says, I have it. Okay, cool. All right, let's keep going. All right, so you guys got it? Now everybody's good. Now I'm going to teach you the next step. Okay, here goes. There's a really, really bad adjustable rate mortgage out there. Let me go back one. And that's the one that, oh shoot, what did I do? Where did it go? Sorry. What did I do? Where did it go? It should be right there. There it is. I hate when that stuff happens to me. It's like, I'm not supposed to know how to do this stuff. All right, it doesn't say it. I was hoping it would say it. All right, so there's a loan out there that's not very good. I don't know why anybody has it, but see how ours says 2.6? Instead it's 2.6, okay? It's 5.2.6. And what symbolizes that first 5 is the very, very, very first change of the interest rate. So let's say that we have the same loan that we did already. We started at 1 1/4. We have, but we have the 5.26 instead of the 2.6. And after the first year, it went to 5% because the margin plus the index was 5%. Our first cap, we started at 1.25. If our first cap is 5%, we could go to 6 1/4, the first change. So instead of going to 3 1/4, we would have gone to 5%. That's why that loan's not very good. And then thereafter, we would do 2% cap. So if it says 5.26, the first change is 5% maximum, and then it drops down to the 2% afterwards. Are we good? And the lifetime cap would still be the 6.
Oh, so the 11.
If you started at 6 and if you started at 1.25, the lifetime cap would be 7.25 still.
Okay, 7.25. Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to teach you another little trick. You like that? I'm kind of just throwing them at you. I'll look at your chat in a second. Ooh, the chats are growing. You're scaring me. Somebody must not like my adjustable rate loans, right? Let's see what your chat. I better look at them now. Okay, it says she actually does do that. What's an XD? It says, wait. It says, hey, you can't hear me? Hey, you can't hear us, by the way. Oh, I can't? Oh, that sucks. Let me unmute you. I have to be able to do that. She only hears what she wants to hear. Maybe ask a question in the chat instead. She actually does do that. Sharon has selective hearing, and when she is trying to make a point, ah ha ha, you guys are funny. I didn't know that I muted you guys. I'm so sorry. I like hearing you guys. Let me see if I go in the participants. I can drop. What?
Was that the computer that was messed up?
Oh, this is the computer that doesn't, it's not about me, you guys. This is the computer that doesn't let me unmute you. Let's see if it has any, it says remote control. No, maybe it's something here. Stop recording. We're not going to stop recording because we want you guys to have that. Let's see. I just want to see real quick if I can unmute them. Wait, no. Oh, because I know this computer did that last time. Volume, I don't think it, I don't know, you guys. I think we used this last time and we had a huge problem, but we could try undoing that. No, the volume's up. Volume's up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this computer last time. Because, see, why does it say invite? I don't need to invite, right? Because you're already invite. Alt-1. Maybe if I try Alt-1, it'll change things. I don't know. Let's see. Can I hear you now? We don't want to waste too much time on this, you guys. Chat's probably working. Let's see. Ha ha. That's what you're saying. Okay. Okay, let's go on. I don't want to waste too much time on that. Clock is a ticking. So let's do the one that I know you have to know how to do on your test because I know a lot of stuff. Isn't that crazy? So you have a hybrid adjustable rate mortgage. I love the hybrid. The hybrid is a really good loan. So you have a 3-1, a 5-1, a 7-1, or a 10-1. Okay, the number in the front signifies how long your client is going to be at the low interest rate. So let's stay with the same numbers, the start rate and the 2.6. Okay, now let's pretend it's a hybrid for 3 years. So if it's a hybrid 3-1, the start rate's going to stay at the 1.25. And guess what? The entire loan's going to stay at the 1.25 for the first 3 years. It's not going to do anything for 3 years. And then after the third year, let's pretend after the third year, the margin plus the index is 5%. Well, then it's going to go to that 3.25 on the after the third year. So the first part of the fourth year. Okay. So what that means, there's a question that says, I think I said this to you guys over the weekend. I did tell you that there was one where the payment was $720, and it's $720 on a 3-1 ARM. After the first year, what's the payment going to be? $720, because it's not going to change until the fourth year. Okay. So 3-1, it stays the same for 3 years. And just make sure that they don't trick you and they go, what's the payment after the first year? It's going to be the same for the first 3 years, but make sure if they're asking you 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years. You guys got that?
So 10 years will probably be the best one then.
Well, not really. It depends. So if you have somebody who's moving here because they're only going to be here because they have a job transfer and they're going back home in 3 or 4 years, then the 5-1 might be better for them. Because think about this. If they buy it, usually these are interest-only loans. So they're only paying interest. So the principal is going to stay the same. But if the value of the house goes up, and because it's interest-only, it's like actually a rental payment instead of an owner payment, then they're going to gain that equity and they can sell the house and go back home. So it's not a bad loan. It's actually a really good loan, especially for jumbo pricing. Okay? You guys all understand that? And we're good. We're going on. Yay. You don't need that anymore. And I'm going to look at the chat before I go on to ARM disclosures. All right, chat is good. You guys are good. But you're still learning. That's all that matters. So going on. So you're done with that. You want your book back and it says ARM disclosures. So when somebody decides that they're going to get an adjustable rate mortgage, they are going to get an extra disclosure. So one more to the 76 pages of disclosure. And they're going to get one thing. It's called the CHARM. It's the Consumer Handbook on Adjustable Rate Mortgages. So go to page 76, the basic formula. Oh, we already did all that. Let's see, where is that? We are way past there. We're not on page 76. We're actually all the way over to
77.
We're actually past 77 because I did a sample of it. I did the rates.
79.
Yeah, we're all the way over on 79. Okay, so we're on 79. And it said underwriting standards. We talked about the conversion option. I do want you to highlight on the conversion option. The interest rate is usually higher, so highlight higher. Limited time to convert, first and fifth year. And typically the conversion fee is 1%. Then dropping down to the underwriting standards of an ARM. Lenders usually follow the secondary market guidelines so they can sell those adjustable rate mortgage on the back side. So they'll follow Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines, and they'll usually go up to 95% loan to value. Go on to page 80 on the ARM disclosures. Lenders offering residential financing, including ARMs, must comply with federal guidelines under Regulation Z of the Truth in Lending Act. The lender is required to give the loan applicant highlight the Consumer Handbook on Adjustable Rate Mortgages. This is known as the CHARM. And I got to tell you guys, you could give this to your I won't say 6-year-old. I better say 10-year-old. You could give this handbook to probably an 8 or 10-year-old, and they would be able to tell you how to do an adjustable rate mortgage. That's how easy and how explainable the way that this book is written. And I tell you that because I didn't understand adjustable rate mortgages. As much as I explain it to you guys and I know it backwards, forwards, and inside out, I learned from this book. And it's published by the Federal Reserve. So you have to give it to your clients within 3 days of knowing they're getting an adjustable rate mortgages. And that's highlight 3 business days at the time of the loan application when they know they're doing an adjustable rate mortgage.
So will the handbook be online?
The handbook is online.
Okay.
It's online and it's really easy to find.
Okay.
And you guys might want to get the handbook and look through it before you take your national test. But I just did a pretty good job of explaining it to you. The rules also require certain specific disclosures, if relevant, to the specific ARM program and the disclosure of the APR. So remember, when you're selling a fixed rate mortgage, you have to disclose the APR. Okay, but on an adjustable rate mortgage, you have no idea what the APR is going to be over the life of the loan. You know what the rate's going to be at the beginning, but you don't know what the index is going to be as the loan goes on. So you're going to have to look on the first paragraph under annual percentage rate disclosure, drop almost to the bottom where it says composite APR. That's what you're going to give your client, the composite APR, which is based on the worst case scenario. So if your clients are not absolutely positive about an ARM, once they get the disclosures, they'll be positive once they read it, okay? So the annual percentage rate is the relationship between highlight the cost of borrowing money and the total amount financed, represented in the interest represented as a percentage. Regulation Z, as in zebra, disclosures regarding the APR cannot be based solely on the ARM's initial rate. For an ARM, the disclosure of the APR on page 3 in the comparison section of the loan estimate must reflect the finance charges and fees, as well as highlight the composite APR, which is based on the initial payment rate and the fully indexed rate. So you have to show your client the worst case scenario. Whenever you're selling an adjustable rate mortgage, even if it's the hybrid where it's fixed for 3 years, 5 years, 7 or 10, you cannot say it's a fixed rate loan because it's not a fixed rate loan. Okay, any loan that has a margin and an index is not a fixed rate loan. So you never want to say that it is when it's not, okay? And that, my friend, is the adjustable rate mortgage.